Hey everyone. We are about halfway through the course material for the semester, so kudos to you for getting this far. Hang on, we've got several weeks left, but we're past the halfway point, which is great. I wanted to provide you with a general overview of what we're going to examine in this module. These are heavy events. These are the events leading to the Second World War, including the rise of fascist dictators like Benito Mussolini and Francisco Franco and the infamous Adolf Hitler, along with the militarists who rise to power in Japan. And we're going to look at how the United States initially really kind of failed to react to what was going on in Europe and Asia until the United States, our country itself, was directly attacked by the Japanese on December 7th, 1941. As you read the text and examine the modules, you'll see there are a number of times when the United States could have, and maybe in retrospect should have, gotten involved. When Hitler came to power in 1933, he didn't hide who he was. He was clear about what his intents were. He'd written a book, Mein Kampf. It's just nobody read it, or not enough people read it. Upon becoming Der Führer, declaring himself that, he sets up concentration camps. Dachau is established in 1933. The people of Germany knew this. They had a poem, it sounds better in German, but basically, God strike me dumb so I don't get sent to Dachau. They knew what was happening. Maybe not the extent or the ultimate plan, goal yet, but they knew things were wrong. He begins expanding his empire, taking back land that had been removed from German control after World War I, passing laws that kick Jews out of everything, from positions in the government to taking away medical licenses. There can't be pharmacists. It's utterly ridiculous. And what does the United States do? Nothing. And to be honest, there were a lot of people in the United States that were as anti-Jewish as Hitler was. And so they shrugged their shoulders. When we saw what was happening in Japan, most famously the rape of Nanjing, what did the Americans do? Well, the Japanese are attacking Chinese, and we failed to react. Until we were dragged kicking and screaming into this. As you look through these materials, I want you to think about how the growing tensions in Europe and Asia appeared to, at least in terms of manufacturing, benefit the United States. We sought financial gain. We argued it's not our business. Like many in Europe, we wanted to avoid war at all costs. This is appeasement, right? The appeasement policy of Neville Chamberlain. But at a certain point, I don't know when that point is or should have been, the people of the U.S. had to decide if and when they should get involved. And ultimately, they didn't until we were literally attacked. And this has always bugged me, right? After the war is over, after we win, after the Allies win, and this is not to diminish the service of men and women around the globe to bring down people like Hitler and Mussolini and others. But when the war is over, we say, well, we had to get involved because we had to save the world from awful people. We had to save them from fascism. We had to save humankind from these evil men. Well, if that's really the case, then why didn't we get involved in Germany in 1933 or even earlier in Italy? We didn't get involved in the Spanish Civil War when Francisco Franco, with the help of Mussolini and Hitler, rose to power. And then he'll serve from 1935 until 1975. He will serve as a fascist dictator for the next 40 years. We had options, and we chose not to get involved. We had a group, and you'll read about this and hear about them in the video, a group of Jews who are able to escape, 900 plus people, on a ship. They're bound for Havana, Cuba, where they're promised refuge, and their visas are declined when they get there. They're not allowed to disembark the ship. And Jewish groups, especially in the United States, are begging Franklin Roosevelt, please just let these people in. And he doesn't even have the humanity to give an answer of no. He ignores them. He refuses to respond. And there are a variety of reasons for this, but this was a chance. But keep in mind, this was an era in which the United States had been shipping out people. This is the time period in the 1930s when the economy was tight, and we were literally shipping Mexican and Mexican Americans, quote unquote, back to Mexico, even though many of them were U.S. citizens. And then once the war comes for us, once the Japanese attack, then what do? Within a handful of months, FDR, who becomes the spokesperson for democracy, the leader, one of the leaders of the Allies, talking about the importance of self-determination, signs an executive order 9066, sending Japanese Americans, over 120,000 of them, into internment camps. And we justify it with no evidence. When the war is over, we said we got involved for the right reasons. And yet, if that's really the case, then why did we do some of the things we did? And why did we fail to act? I think it's really important, especially in today's climate, that we recognize the importance of inaction. If you are not active, you are at fault, right? If you fail to stop something from happening, there is blame that you have to absorb. And for the United States after World War II, that guilt of what happened during the war, could we have stopped it earlier? And after the war, my gosh, we have to live with the fact that we are the only country to detonate atomic bombs in warfare against civilian populations. As you're reading about the war and the U.S. involvement, I want you to think about those things. They're heavy. It's not easy. But I think it's really important to consider that. And this is where history can help us, really. Not just remember the past, but learn from that past, and try to make sure we don't repeat it. I wanted to recommend this book, George Takei's They Called Us Enemy. It's a great graphic novel about his experience and others' experiences in the internment camps. If you get a chance, take a look at the images that I've uploaded on the module as well. I visited one of the camp's most famous, probably the most famous of the camps, Manzanar, which is outside of Lone Pine in California. Take a look at those images. Take a look at online. The National Park Service runs the camp now. You can get an idea of what it was like to be there. But this is an important unit, and I really want you to think about, right? In hindsight, we can see some of the mistakes we made, but what can that tell us about looking towards the future, and the impact those decisions will make for our kids and for our grandkids? So if you have questions, always reach out to me via email, and I hope you enjoy the materials I've posted for Prelude to War and World War II. See ya.